This the third DUI. So I was hanging out at this. We were having a party at my house one night, and we'd had about 3 party balls, I think is what I bought that time. If anybody remembers what those are. And the beer was so gross. Ugh. Bud Light is like, ugh. You get to the bottom of the party ball, and it would just taste like beer water, and it'd be foamy, and man, I drank every one of those son of bitches. Anyway, we're having a party ball party, and Lou Denny's like, I gotta go pick up my girl. He was gonna pick his girlfriend up. I even think she might have been sneaking out of the house. I don't remember. They were a couple years younger than me, and I was still, I don't know, maybe 21. I might have been 21. I can't remember. So much shit has happened, man. I can't remember. So anyway, he takes off. He's gonna pick his girl up. Well, she lives right across the street from this horse pasture where this guy has horses and stuff. And like the road is like real hilly right there. So Lou, he's hammering, going to pick his girl up, and he tops this hill, and there's a fucking horse standing in the road. It had gotten out, jumped the fence or whatever, I don't even know. But the horse gets out. He fucking hit it, full blast. Like that's a back road that he drives every day to go see his girl, and we drive fast on the back roads. We're very reckless, especially if you've had a few. So who knows how fast he was going, but he clips that horse, man, and it just knocked it off its feet, and then it came down and crushed the whole top of his car. He was driving like a 4-door, what was it, green Grand Prix, remember those from the 90s? But it just pancaked the whole top. So he goes to the hospital. They try to give him I don't think he blew for a DUI, but the cop was rough with him. But then they have to take him to the hospital, and when after 2 days they realize his neck is broken. Fucking angry, man. So they had to put him and take him to Tupelo, and they put him in the full halo and all that shit. Well, that doesn't slow him down. He's still partying with us all the time with this big fucking thing, and he would, Frankenstein it around. But this one night, there's supposed to be this legendary party. It's out in Becker in the middle of nowhere. But apparently, there's going to be like bands and kind of like this is the biggest party to ever come to our area ever. And you're a loser if you don't show up. Well, we were way too fucked up one night. And word comes down, hey man, y'all not going to go to this party or whatever? I had been drinking ahead of time, I guess, because I couldn't handle going in the big crowd unless I was wasted. That's just how I dealt with that kind of shit back then. So I've been pre-drinking and got too fucked up before it was time to go to the party. And nobody else wants to ride with me because I've already got all these DUIs. And we were riding, like, the only car they would let me drive was my stepdad had this 1981 Subaru. We called it the Dirty Sanchez because it smelled like you had shit on your upper lip whenever you were in it. But it was just he worked on the railroad. He was drove trains. And so, like, all his clothes would be covered in grease and shit. So the car just had, like, decades of baked-in grease in it because it was his work vehicle. So we're in the Dirty Sanchez. And Lou is the only one that'll go. He's like, hell yeah, I'll go to that party. I think him and that girl might have broke up, so he was wanting to do something. So we hop in the Subaru. He's like, you want me to drive, man? I'm like, I don't think you can drive in that Halo. He's like, I don't think you can drive as drunk as you are, but we're going to find out. So we get there. I missed the turn for the party. It was like, you can tell there's a bunch of people turning there, but I was so fucked up that and I can't see at night, and I wouldn't wear my glasses back then. I was, I don't know, because probably people would punch me in the face so often for being an asshole. I didn't want to get hurt. But we missed the turn, and there's like an old abandoned machine shop kind of parking lot right there. So I whoop it in there, and like I didn't see it before, but when my headlights turned, there's a sheriff deputy sitting there just clocking everybody who's going to the party, waiting. They're going to set up a roadblock when people start leaving. So I'm sitting there looking down the road to turn to go back, because I missed my turn. And I keep not going because that cop, I keep getting distracted by him. I'm looking at him and like half inching out in the road. So he spied me and it's over. We make the turn finally. I make the right turn. And as soon as I did, blue lights. And he's, I was so drunk at that time. And I've been dealing with the cops for so long by that time that I was pretty comfortable with just being honest with what's going on. And, like he knew my name. He come, hey, bitch, you ready to get another DUI? Shit, yeah, man, let's go. Well, because of the halo and you're not supposed to drive. So he had to get somebody to come fucking pick him up, man. I felt real shitty about that, leaving him kind of, maybe even the cops gave him a ride. I think so. But it was fucked up, man. And now, third DUI is a trip. So, like, now you're going to get a felony. And your bond is really, really expensive. Normally I get out for like $50. As long as you show up to court, But this time it's fucking like $1,000 for me to get out. And they wouldn't let me out right away. And the old county, I want to tell about the old county, man. So, Rubel Maxey was the sheriff back then, and he was kind of good old boy style, but also very kind to the people he had locked up. You were allowed to smoke, you were allowed to whatever. You were he was pretty lenient on drugs and booze, and like he's like, they're locked up. I got them in at least. It doesn't matter. And you could have like at any time of the night, didn't matter. A family member could come up there and say, drop off a carton of cigarettes or drop off of whatever, or here's some clothes. Like, you didn't even have to wear jumpsuits in there. It let you wear your street clothes, and then your family could bring you cleaner clothes. Like you could trade them out or whatever. Like, it's real, it's the best jail I ever been in. And it was also old-timey with bars, but different. It kind of had the beginnings of what pods would be. So it's like, you go through one bar, and then there's another set of bars. And after that, it's kind of like a very small day room with a picnic table kind of in the middle that everybody can share when trays come in, which is lunch or your food. Call it trays. So when the trays come in, that's where you eat. But then the bunks, it's a concrete wall in between each two bunks. And he lets you put like sheets and shit up, curtains. Everybody's got curtains and stuff. And inside each one is a TV. You could have a TV brought up there if like the guy didn't have a TV or whoever. You're going to be there a long time. Your family can bring you a TV, bring you a DVD. This is when DVDs first came out. So you could have your DVD player brought up there. All kind of shit, man. So I was in there for a long time. I don't know, 2-3 weeks maybe. Can't remember. And the other Mitch was in there. There's another Mitch, a guy I grew up with, Mitch Armstrong. I'm sure he's doing, I don't know where he is now, but he was in there at the same time. So he was like, yeah, man, we got high, smoke weed. Because like you could just go in the middle of the night. You could just be like, keys on 8 is what that's the one I was in, was 8. So we'd go, keys on 8. And then a trustee would come down and be like, what you want, man? I'm like, let me get a joint. And it would, for like street price, it wasn't even jacked up because it was so easy to get it in there. And here's how they get it in there. Sunday is visitation day. And it's not like glass talking through the phone kind of shit. Anybody who's 18, and you have to put people on your list that you want to come, but you can change that list at any time, up to like the minute before. Oh, so-and-so showed up to see you. Oh, put them on my list. Like they're not strict. He's real. It was nice, man, as far as jail goes. And so what they do is, on Sunday, it's like 10 or 11 o'clock. Bring everybody in. They don't search anybody. They don't anything. Then they open those double doors, like the gates. They let you in on your little pod. Then they lock the door and they say, all right, we'll see you at 3 o'clock. And they fuck off. And the minute that happens, man, everybody starts fucking pulling out shit. This lady brought in a 1/4 pound of weed. She had this big fucking Ziploc bag full of it, man. It was great. And then they'd go in there and fuck. Just slide the little, that's what those were for. So that you could fuck when your wife came, or whoever. It didn't even have to be your wife. You just have some girl come see you. That was man, it was so wild. And so I was like, I had my DVDs and shit brought up there. And we watched, this was when the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man came out. So me and all these like dudes who were couldn't afford bail and or had like too big a fuck up, so they don't let them out anymore. They just kind of hang out at the county jail now, but they haven't done anything bad enough to really go to prison. They just kind of mostly drunks and shit. So we all sat around and watched the new Spider-Man movie. Man, they were like, wow, it was a trip, man. It's so strange. But Third DUI, I postponed it for like a year. Got a public defender. She was supposed to be a real attorney. I paid her $100 in the beginning, and then by the time we made it to court, I was like, I can't afford to pay you. Or she was like, don't worry about it. And so they sentenced me to 1 year of house arrest. I had so many DUI, like my license would be suspended for 8 years by the time it was all over with. But I'm going to get another DUI after that, before that. So, but it's real weird too when they, like getting a felony is a whole different situation than getting just a normal misdemeanor crime kind of thing. You know, you stand up, plead guilty, here you go, and then you leave. But when you get a felony, you're there all day. It's a whole drawn out process. And then they stand, everybody's like, come on, everybody who's going to get convicted of a felony today. And you all stand in front of the judge, and there's all these like things he has to say about what's happening to you and what rights you're losing and like what this means, kind of thing. And then after that, then you have to deal with like, you know, whatever your sentence is. So they gave me a year house arrest and 5 years probation. And to get out of wearing the bracelet, I'd already signed up for a long-term treatment. And so I was now a convicted felon. I could still vote because DUI is it's a weird, like it falls under a different category. You don't lose all your rights, but you do lose like your right to bear arms, your right to this, to that. You can't freely move about the country without notifying, because that's mostly because you're on probation and house arrest and shit. But that's Third DUI.